Well, I have my cocktail that I'm
Good
gonna
on
be
you.
drinking. It's today evening here, so I'm
Yes, I
gonna.
understand that very good. And so I'm in Auckland. Whereabouts are you? Are you in Oakland?
I'm in Oakland.
Yes. So you wouldn't believe how I believe. I don't know if it's a urban myth or whatever, but people have been in the States and have said they wanted to go to Auckland and have ended up in Oakland or something in airports and stuff. It gets messed up very often.
Really? Well, I wish I was in Auckland. It's horrible.
Well,
I mean, I love Oakland. It's just our country is a flopping failure.
yeah, I
So.
know. That's why I moved here.
Yeah, I'm jealous of every expat. I'm sure I have a million questions for you, not pertaining to music. So,
That's all right. Yeah. Well, so how are things in Oakland today? Is it still crazy?
um, it's a lovely day outside. Uh, I am out of work. What else is there to say? That's
Well,
it.
so am I, for that matter. So,
Yeah. So, yeah, no, things are. Everyone gives that sort of like neutral answer these days when asked how you
yeah,
are.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I'm falling in line with that as well.
Yeah. Well, if it makes you feel any better, it's raining here at least because it's winter time here. So,
Oh, that sounds really nice. I could use like, I miss feeling cozy. In California, we don't get a lot of cozy feeling
uh,
times because it's always sunny and you always feel like you have to go outside and enjoy it.
right. No, I'm definitely feeling cozy today. There's no doubt about it. And one of the reasons, because I'm really enjoying your album.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you. I appreciate that a lot.
there's something about the sound of it, and I can't put my finger on it exactly why it's different than seemingly everything else I'm hearing. Something maybe a production. I wouldn't call it your typical singer songwriter type vibe or indie rock or anything like that. And so maybe I can ask you to help me describe what it is that you've done here.
I wanted to make something that sounded cozy and comfy.
All
And
right.
sort of like, yeah, I wanted to make something that felt familiar in a way. Like a lot of my reference songs on my like mix reference playlist was like Neil Young and I like those drum sounds that are like slinky and
Right.
thuddy and um, yeah, and I wasn't like I need to go make a Neil Young record. It just was like that's the drum sound that I want. So let's keep that in mind. Or like this is the guitar sound from this album that I like, and let's keep that in mind. So I guess there was like a lot of referencing stuff that I already liked, and but beyond that, I worked with Jen Wasner and Andy Stack from Wyoke, and we also lived together at the time. So like we just were listening to a lot of the same stuff and yeah, I don't know, we like a lot of sounds, like we like to make things really full of sounds, and all
That's
of
the
us
impression I got
individually.
from listening to the record. There was a lot of sounds, and I couldn't pick.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
Pardon me?
Oh, did you have another question? Sorry.
I'll have one. Yes.
Okay.
How is it? So the three of you kind of put this record together between the three of you. Who does what, or how does the working relationship work?
Well, we were living together, so I would write songs and I'd um a lot of the time I would be writing when they were on tour. We toured a lot together, but then they were also just touring so much that I was home sometimes and I wasn't touring with them. And so I'd write songs and then like Jen's like practice drum kit was at the house, and so I would like come up with these drum beats, and I suck at the drums, and so they would be like really primitive versions of the beats and everything.
Right?
And then when they would get home, I'd be like, Andy, will you please make this into a real song or like a real drum beat, And so
Yeah.
he would like plug in his 16 input interface and like his completely mic'd drum kit and turn my beat concept into a fully fleshed out like drum part. And yeah, and then also we were just around each other, so they knew what I was going through. They knew like what I was listening. We were just in each other's worlds, and so I wrote all the songs and the 90% of the arrangements, and then would be like, okay, this is all I could do with like my MIDI keyboard. Can you please translate this into a real saxophone part on, Andy played the sax on it and
Uh-huh.
Jen played bass. But yeah, so then when I moved from North Carolina back to Oakland, um, then I was getting ready to record it, and I was like, I could like spend a month teaching this to a band, or I could just have Jen and Andy come out. They already know the songs. They already know what I'm going for. And so they flew out. We tracked the drum and bass parts, 10 tracks, all 10 tracks, to tape in one day. And
Oh,
then did
nice.
everything else. Yeah. I was, working on a tight budget. So,
That's one way
like,
to
this
do
is
it.
our only option.
Gotcha.
So they were great. They rehearsed the songs on their own, showed up, and just banged them out, and it was amazing. And then we just kind of had fun from there on out, adding
Cool.
stuff.
So now let's talk about the songs. The album is called Sucker's Lunch, which is an interesting title in itself. And there's a song called Sucker. And I think there's a line about a sucker and double heated as well. So let's
Yeah,
take
double-hearted.
double hearted. I can't read my own writing. I never can.
Oh, it's okay. Neither can neither can I.
So yes, if you can elaborate on that, that would be great.
Yeah, I mean, I was just as I was writing these songs, I was like starting a new relationship and in the thick of touring a ton, and I guess I just like kept thinking to myself like I'm such an idiot. I'm an idiot for, choosing this career that is like completely unsustainable and
Good timing.
temporary. Yeah, exactly. I think now more than ever, we have to recognize the unsustainability of the music industry itself, but also choosing this as a career path is like, I've always tried to keep in mind how temporary it is. There's just no way to make it last forever unless you are Neil Young putting out a record from 40 years ago.
Yep. The
But
good man. He's got a
yeah,
backlog, that's for sure.
yeah. But I think there's, I'm gonna make music forever, no matter what, because it's part of who I am. But I think you have to be willingly stupid to pursue it as like a way of making money or a living at all.
Right.
And I saw that reflected in like choosing to start a relationship as well. Like there's so many reasons that you can logic your way out of something and reason why you could be hurt or why it's a bad idea. And you have to choose to ignore those thoughts and choose to be the sucker.
This is true.
I kind of was like, oh, I don't know. It's like there was a bunch of references for me. It's almost like I was like sitting on the porch, and this happened with Perfect Shapes too, where I just was like, oh yeah, Perfect Shapes, and that's what it's gonna be. Okay.
Okay.
And I was, yeah, sitting on the porch, and I was like, oh, Sucker's Lunch. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm an idiot, but I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna sit down and eat my lunch and keep going, I guess. And when Jen and Andy got back from tour, after I had come up with that, I sort of like pitched that idea to them, and I was like, does this make sense? And they were like, oh yeah, we're total idiots too. Yeah, totally. And I was
I
like,
think a lot of
great,
people
okay,
are going to
cool.
relate to that concept, so we have to worry about it.
Yeah, I think it was interesting. The more I talked about it with friends and stuff, like that concept, they were like, oh yeah, like I feel like I'm a stupid idiot, but I'm having fun. And I was like, okay, good.
Yeah, that's important. Yes, and one song that I wanted to kind of touch on because it has this kind of noiry twang thing happening in it is "Be That Man." Maybe you can tell me a little bit about that one.
Yeah, that one was just for fun, That was like that was my cowboy song. I was listening to a lot of Glenn Campbell, a lot,
Oh, nice.
and yeah, still am, in fact. But yeah, sonically it was like I wanted to make something like over the top and dramatic and kind of like an old spaghetti western soundtrack or something.
Yeah.
And I think I really, for me, this is true in music videos and songs and the art that I enjoy consuming as well as what I enjoy making, but I really like things that tread this fine line between like funny and serious. And that song does that for me. It's like the sounds are kind of funny because it sounds like a Western movie.
Yeah.
Um, but topically, I was sort of trying to poke fun at the idea of like traditional masculinity and like in those that identify as men and also in myself and like what parts of masculinity could I take and make my own. And I think lyrically, like there's a line that says, I've got a big head and a second chance. Nobody cares if I kiss the wrong hand. Sort of the idea that like, oh, I can have this like masculine uh, confidence and make mistakes. And, you know, if I was following in the traditional idea of masculinity, then like nobody should really give a crap if I if I make mistakes because I'm the man, and you know, and so I was trying to like sort of embody that, you know,
Right.
like yeah, the lyrics are yeah a little bit sort of like tr- uh, turn of phrase tricks, I guess, like two times makes a habit. One time makes a man. Like, oh, you might have to try it something twice to get good at it, but I'm a man and I can just do it from the start, you know?
If it was only
So
that
yeah,
easy.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. So I and again, yeah, it's like, well, what man actually feels like that? That's what toxic masculinity is like
Yeah.
instilling the belief that like, oh, you have to be sure of yourself, otherwise you're not a man. And
Right.
anyway, so well, thanks for asking about that song because I liked
My
making it.
pleasure.
I in my head I like could see the cowboy movie that went along with it, and I wanted to have like my hair slicked back and like put on a fake mustache and like be slinging my little pistol, you know.
There you
Um,
go.
but that one wasn't a single, so I didn't get to make a video for it. Maybe I will. I mean, I got
There's
nothing
plenty
but
of
time.
time.
Yeah.
The other song I was hoping to touch on was Jenny. And is that written about for or a, a person?
Unfortunately, that name just sounded good.
There's nothing wrong with that.
It's kind of like, yeah, it's like a placeholder for anybody who gives you advice. And I was just experiencing at the time like the need for advice, and that's the chorus is Jenny, tell me what's in my league. I'm a swimmer now, like play on words again. I like little tricks of words, but
Right.
um, uh, yeah, kind of the idea of like, okay, well, what what can I do? What are my capabilities? I need somebody else to tell me because I have no idea what I'm doing.
Right.
Um, and but and yet I'm diving in, you know. That was like pertaining to I guess the idea of like a relationship in specifically, but could be anything. And that's I like to write songs where people could listen to them and make them their own and say, oh, well, you know, for me, this is what this song is about. When I say picture of you, you know, what is the listener picturing?
Hmm.
What in their imagination, who are they holding a picture of? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's
Right.
like,
Yeah. 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 Well,
yeah.
I'm curious.
Anyway.
I'm curious because the record's been out for a couple of weeks now, and if these were normal times, you'd probably be out playing in front of people and talking to a lot of folks and getting that kind of feedback. But I assume that's not happening. So, what has happened in its place? How has it been?
It's been good. I think it's yeah, it's a weird time because I am proud of the songs and I think um yeah, it's weird to talk about it this way because I'm the last person in the world to congratulate myself for anything, but I'm proud of it. I think it's the best thing that I've made, and I think in normal times I would be touring a lot and playing these songs in front of a lot of people, and I just wish I could share that with people because I feel like I've tried to be as honest as possible on this album, and yeah, it's been, but you know, despite that, it's been good. I feel like people have identified with a lot of it, and I get like sort of stupid amount of validation when people identify with the songs that aren't singles, that
Sure.
yeah, like listen to the songs that didn't get special press, because it's like, oh, you're actually listening. That's so awesome. I really, really like, I don't know how to express how authentically I appreciate when people like listen to the whole album. It's like what an honor.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's funny that you asked that because actually, 2 days ago or something, this band, I don't remember their name, and I wouldn't want to draw attention to them anyway, but they reviewed my album on YouTube. I didn't watch the YouTube video, but they
Right.
posted something on Instagram where they um, were like reviewing it, and I really don't I really don't care if people review it, my record, or critique it, or I can think of a million things that are wrong with it.
Right. I'm sure.
I'm
Yeah.
the most critical person in the world to my own stuff that I make, brutal, in fact, and it's like it inhibits my creativity. But they said something in particular about the lyrics, and they were like, "Yeah, it seems like a lot of these lyrics are like really vague and like." And I don't know, like maybe when you're starting out and you're just putting out your records, like you don't want to be so honest. And I'm like, this is my fifth release. This is my third full-length record. Like, I think I
Right.
know what I'm trying to do here. Um, so that's whatever. But then they were like, yeah, usually songwriters are like specific. And I was like, okay,
Actually, they're not.
no.
I've listened to a
Where did
lot of
you hear
music in
that
my
rule?
day.
Yeah, and like, where did you hear that rule? And let me allow you to set yourself free from that expectation, because like, you don't have to write a diary entry. And I think that's like a maybe what's really popular right now, especially for like cis women putting out music. It's like, oh,
Right.
I want to know everything you're going through. It's
Yeah.
like,
Right. Right.
I don't really want to tell you, first of all. And yeah, like you just wonder if these poor souls have listened to the Cocteau Twins, or it's like something can be beautiful and you don't know what they're saying.
Right.
Um, so anyway, that was just like I had to I had to stick up for myself a little bit there. So I did write a little thing
Oh,
and put
good
it on
idea.
Twitter. Just basically, I want to be critiqued. I want to know what people do and do not like, because it exists in my head as this like vision thing, and only until it's out will I see like the outward reflection of what it has become.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Um, but that I was like, okay, that is just a silly rule to make about songwriting.
Definitely. Well,
Where did you learn that? Oh, so
just because you're in a
silly.
band doesn't mean you can be a critic, apparently.
Right. And of course, like I have a million opinions. I'm like so bitter and brutal about other music. Of course, we all are. We're like snobs. We're all snobs, and
Yep.
of our own choosing of whatever we choose to be snobs about. Um, but I just like I've never thought like, oh, I should probably like turn on a video camera and let other people know what I
That's crazy.
know.
Now, I assume the record was recorded a while ago, and which means that you probably haven't. I'm wondering what creativity you've gotten up to while you're kind of locked down or doing this crazy COVID thing that we're all doing.
Yeah, it's been very difficult, and honestly pretty devoid of creativity and new writing. I did at the very start of the lockdown, I was like writing some things, and I put a couple of things together that I think are okay,
Hmm.
and have like every so often written something, but it's weird. I usually right when I finish a record, or finish putting it out, I'm like
Hmm.
halfway done with the next one. And
Right.
actually, the time between Perfect Shapes and Sucker's Lunch has been the longest time between records that I've had, or between releases, I should say. Uh, so it does feel pretty weird for me. I mean, I have something in the works right now, but it's like, it's small. It's not.
Hmm.
I'm not going after my next like thesis or anything. So I've been trying to do other things, and like not put the pressure on myself to make my next big thing. I really do, and that applies like for normal times too. I can't. I'm not the type of person that can like sit down and be like, now I'm gonna write a song.
Yep.
Like it
Yep.
has to just kind of come to me. That sounds so like so struggling artist. But yeah, or like you hear about people that can write on the road and stuff, and I'm like, how? I'm like always driving. How do
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
write on the road? And then I want to go to bed. I don't want to stay up and write or party. I just want to sleep. Um, but yeah, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm trying to take this time to do other things that have kind of been on the back burner. Yeah, I just listened to a podcast about procrastinating though, and like it kind of messed me up.
I was gonna, but I haven't gotten
It
around to
really
it
messed me up. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I sent it to Jen actually, and she's like, I was like, "Have you listened to that yet?" She's like, "No, I'm putting it off." I was like, "Oh,
yet. It's too
yeah."
easy. uh,
Hmm.
but you should give yourself some time to savor what you've just produced and enjoy the fact that you've made this record.
Everybody says that,
Oh
and I
well.
don't. I've never done that. I've
Yeah,
never. I'm always like, yeah, whatever. I'm sick of those songs. No, I'm not sick of these songs though. I'm because I haven't toured them yet.
right. That's true.
Um, yeah, and I like. I don't know if I necessarily. No, I should take that back. I do not want to live stream solo
Right.
these songs. Because I write them into my DAW. Like I plug in my interface and I write into the program. So when I come up with a lyric, I probably come up with like all of the instrumental parts first, So to me, to play that song like naked over chords is like such a disservice to what I'm trying to say. Like I want people to be in the world of
Yeah.
the song. It kind of depresses me to strip all of those, like the setting away from the song. So I don't know. Maybe I'll like sing some of it on the piano or something at some point. If
Right.
Bandcamp is doing streaming stuff, I don't know if they do that, then I'll do that. But
Yeah.
um, yeah.
Is the record available on vinyl?
Oh yeah. Wait,
Oh,
you want to see it?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Here it
There it
is. Here's
is.
me.
That looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Well, you
And
see, I
then
got a
here's
few records behind me here, so
I see that. Maybe this
there's like,
can nestle in eventually. And then we've got oh, it looks pretty good.
yeah, it looks pretty
Little
good. That's very
That's
cool.
Titus, the dog that's on the cover. And then this is the best part though because it's Sucker's Lunch. It's custard vinyl.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Very good. That's fantastic.
And the labels I made them look like a receipt when you go to the it's
Oh
backwards for
yeah,
you,
yeah,
but
yep, yep. Very cool. Well, I can't wait to
yeah, I
hear it
keep
on
little
vinyl because
touches.
it's the kind of record I want to hear on vinyl,
Yeah, you can trick yourself into thinking, oh yeah, I hear that the drums and bass are to tape. I can hear that, yeah.
Right.
Because like I'm not gonna kid myself that I can hear this. I think it sounds rich and everything, but there's also like a million tracks on each song, and it's like the mixer and mastering engineer like both did fantastic jobs. So
Cool.
yeah,
Very
I'll
good.
never
Well,
be that person that's like I can hear the tape.
congratulations.
Thank you, I appreciate that a lot.
It's
Thank you.
fantastic. Have you ever been to New Zealand?
No, I want to go so badly. I'm a huge fan of British, Australian, and New Zealand comedy.
Oh,
And
really?
so
That's
I've
interesting.
consumed a lot of media
Uh-huh.
from those areas. So I feel like this weird kinship. My favorite director is Taika Waititi.
Oh, yeah.
But I have to say, like, before he went Hollywood,
Of
Eagle
course you
versus
do.
Shark, Boy,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
those I love those films so much.
Fantastic.
So I would love to go. Actually, my friend from San Francisco just moved to New Zealand right before all of this, and I'm
Good
like, I'm
timing.
so jealous.
It's good timing.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully the open up the borders and people will be able to come back and forth as they need to, because we can do
God,
live
I
music
mean, as soon
here,
as they
but
do,
we can't have anybody coming in from outside because they have to take like a 2 week quarantine thing. So,
right. I saw that the Beths, who are also on
oh
Car
yeah,
Park, I was like looking at my Instagram and I saw them post a thing like, "Thanks for coming last night," and it's them on a stage, and I was like, What? I've
Yep, the
never
place
seen.
they played is just
It's
around the
been
corner
months
here.
since
It's
I've
about
seen.
1,000 seater. It was, and I was there. It was fantastic.
Wow. So jealous.
Yeah, it was good to be back. There's a place called the Power Station, and it's like
Wow.
the best venue in the country. So yeah,
Oh, wow. I'm so jealous. That sounds so amazing. Yeah, I was like, I've never seen people do this before. What is
right,
this?
exactly. Oh, hope it doesn't get to that. So yeah, well, thank you very much for taking time to. I'm glad we finally
Thanks for
met
your
up after all
patience.
that because it was definitely worth it. And now I'm going to go find the
Oh,
vinyl.
thank you. Yes. All right. Well, it's nice to chat with you.
You
I'll
too. Have a
be
nice day.
around.
Bye
You
bye.
too. Bye.